The Yakima City Council discussed the possibility of charging non-residents for emergency services at their latest meeting. Our reporter Malorie Aldrich has more on what they decided.
So what is an emergency response?
At Tuesday's City Council meeting, the Council deliberated the idea of charging non-residents for emergency fire and police services to make some extra revenue for the general fund.
We can bill not just non-residents, but anyone in a particular situation for cost recovery for emergency services that we provide. So currently, under the RCW, there is an RCW 3852-430 that's called DUI Emergency Response Expense Cost Recovery. And what that really does in essence is it allows you to recover costs for police, fire, and utilities and other emergency services that are utilized when somebody's convicted of or a crime that we have to respond to for certain crimes that are mostly surrounding crimes of intoxication.
The council then asked Lieutenant Cavan what the expenses of the emergency response is, to which he explained the response cost.
So it's reasonable costs incurred by a public agency in reasonably making an appropriate emergency response to the incident, but shall only include those costs directly arising from the response to the particular incident. So what this means is we have to bill for what actually happens in that incident.
They also asked how the collection process of the emergency response expense works.
So the requirements, in order for us to collect under this, the defendant's intoxication has to have caused the incident and the appropriate emergency response. So if they're found not guilty, then this is all collected post-conviction or post-sentence. It's not something that gets assessed at the front end. It's all done on the back end.
The council decided to continue discussing the idea of charging for emergency services at a later date.
This is really designed to help offset the costs that are impacting the cities and municipalities for responding to these types of incidents.
Reporting for Action News, I'm Malorie Aldrich.
Well, thanks, Mallory, and this certainly has sparked a lively debate for our viewers. Earlier tonight, we asked you whether you agree that non-residents should be billed for using Yakima emergency fire and police services in today's viewer poll. Well, here are the results. A slim majority of voters saying no, they should not, with 52% of the votes, although most voters did register before we ran our story tonight at 5. And thank you to everyone who voted in our poll and for all of your comments. It certainly stirred up some viewers. Despite the high number of votes for yes, there were very few comments that seemed to support the idea. Michelle Atterbury Church asked that if her dad visits and has a medical emergency, then he gets charged because he doesn't live here. Lachelle is looking for more information. Well, hopefully that's been provided. And before deciding, similarly, Erin Deary wrote, imagine visiting Yakima, becoming a victim of a crime by a Yakima resident, and then being charged for being victimised. I'd have to say that's a hard pass from me. Again, that's not the what the story actually is about. Tim Whitehurst wrote that he pays a lot of money in sales tax, even though he lives in the county, so no. Nathan Thompson took a more measured approach, suggesting that if the call was legit, there was no need to pay, but if it was a frivolous use of resources, absolutely have them foot the bill. Stephanie Beeman suggested that it only applies to those who have money. Think about it, she added. And the last word goes to Richard Abhold, who asked, what happened to protect and serve? Well, thanks again for all of your comments. As I say, most of those comments came in before they actually we aired our story earlier today, but keep an eye out for future polls here on KIMA Action News.